Welcome to another edition of Salon Talks. I'm Allie Joseph, and today I'm joined by a very interesting author with an equally interesting backstory. Bruce Cannon Gibney, author of A Generation of Sociopaths, How the Baby Boomers Betrayed America. It was named as one of Esquire's 6 books to read after the recent election, and Fortune said it was sure to be controversial. So let's get into it. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm happy you're here. This is a really unique premise, and as Fortune said, a controversial thesis. Tell us a little bit about the book and what the genesis of it was.
Sure. So I really wanted at first to understand why America had been stagnating, because it struck me that every challenge after 1946 seemed fairly trivial to every challenge that had come before, right? There was no continent to settle, there were no world wars to fight. Vietnam was certainly not on the scale of World War I, World War II, and so on down the line. You'd have temporary setbacks like Vietnam or the JFK assassination. But something about American dynamism really seemed to peter out in the 1990s. And I first tried to answer this question in a 2011 essay, What Happened in the Future? Which circulated around Silicon Valley, and I thought that Silicon Valley was getting a little too enthused with these sort of Me Too products or the social networks light, so not really your Facebooks, but more sort of your Snaps per se. But obviously the dynamics of national stagnation, transcend like the 25-mile radius around Stanford, and so I decided to push my investigation out further and further. And that eventually led me to the baby boomers, because their policies and their behaviors, both individually and politically, have been radically different than the many generations we've seen before. And although it's too soon to arrive at a definitive answer, they seem to be quite different from the behaviors and policies of younger generations.
Guys, those crooks stole our futures. The baby boomers stole our futures while we were still in diapers, and now we have to steal it back. And I hate to say Gen Z is right, because I don't like to give them credit for anything, but Gen Z is right. They're right about a lot of things, actually. Because the way that the boomers operate is they like to hide things and then tell you that you're crazy. Notice, they call you crazy, but they never call you a liar. It's true. How often do you see the boomers use the words, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying? I'm not saying they never deny it. They'll deny things. And then you hit them with facts, and then they'll basically say, everyone suffers, man, get over it. This is a generation of sociopaths that have destroyed the future for everyone that has come after them. And it's ridiculous. Today's videos come from Scott Stromello and also from Economics Explained. Their channels will be linked in the description of the video, so you can go check them out and support them. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of the boomers stealing our futures and what we are going to have to do to steal it back from them. Okay? Because these are bad people. These are bad, very, very bad people. Very dangerous people. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble, guys. So I've been streaming a lot on Rumble. I've been going absolutely wild on Rumble for like the last 2 days. Today I made like, I don't know, I at least put out one video on Rumble. I went maybe 2 videos on Rumble. I went absolutely ballistic. So you never really met the real angry guy. Those of you that have been watching me for years, you know who I am. You know exactly who I am. But I've never been able to even cut loose and really express myself. So partway through the stream, we're going to be switching over to Rumble. Rumble is linked in the description of the video. So if you want to keep watching the stream once we switched over to Rumble, go and subscribe to us on Rumble right now. Follow us on Rumble right now. Our Rumble's linked in the description of the video. And partway through the stream, we're gonna switch over to Rumble, and the stream will continue over there. So go and follow us up, because when I move over to Rumble, that's when I can speak, and I basically say what I want to say and how I want to say it. And there's a bunch of other videos I've been dropping over there where I basically, like, you get to just start to meet the real angry guy. The name is not fluff. The name is not fluff. Uncle says, angry guy used to be known as Angry MGTOW. I was a real bad boy back in those days. I remember some chick came to the channel once and she goes, like something happened on the channel. She goes, "That's what you get for hating on all women, you bastard." Like they used to really despise me. I'm not gonna lie. I used to go hard. I used to go hard. But yeah, guys, we're gonna jump into the video momentarily after a message from Angry's Crypto Academy, guys. So it's very important for you to get into crypto, because that's how we're going to steal our futures back from those bastards. Okay, the financial system is on the brink of collapse. ATMs will freeze, banks will lock their doors, and your wealth is at risk. Learn how to protect your assets with crypto. Angry's Crypto Academy will teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in the safest coins. Don't wait until it's too late. Secure your future today. Click the link in the video description to join. So you guys have to be consciously aware of how bad things are and how bad things are going to get. All right? Especially with the tariffs now coming in, because it's going to get a hell of a lot worse. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the first video.
Society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. A Greek proverb from a time well before the problems of our modern economies or the study of economics itself is as true today as it was thousands of years ago. But do we really live by this idea? For the first time since the Industrial Revolution, successive generations are not becoming wealthier than their parents. While there have certainly been setbacks and historical outliers from this trend, it has remained true in aggregate for the populations of most developed economies. For a long time, it was simply the expectation that people's children would have a better lifestyle in their adulthood than they did. But today, that really is no longer the expectation. In fact, most young professionals can only aspire to live the lifestyles that their parents did. Younger generations are finding it harder and harder to get reliable jobs, afford comfortable homes, start a family, and save for retirement. This is despite the fact that the world is a much richer place today than it was at any point in the 20th century, when baby boomers were busy building their now unassailable fortunes. So, what is going on here? How is it that a world that is richer overall, producing generations that are poorer than the ones that preceded them? Is there some underlying cause to this? If there is there some way to reverse it? And if there isn't, does that mean that we can only expect every generation going forward to be poorer than the one that came before it from now on? Oh, and I suppose it's probably also worth asking, does this even matter, since everyone is eventually going to die and pass down their wealth anyway? Here's a question for you all. Is it better to be born into a large cohort with lots of people the same age as you, or a small cohort with not a lot of people the same age as you? Traditional economic theory would suggest that a small cohort is preferable. It means less competition for jobs, housing, social programs, spots in good schools, and on a macro level, less competition for things as basic as natural resources. But how then do you explain the baby boomers, which despite being part of the largest population explosion ever, are in aggregate very wealthy? Well, Lord David Willetts, a British politician, demographer, and author, suggests that the opposite may be true, and that in a democratic system, being part of a larger cohort is actually preferable because it gives that group more voting power on generational issues and more sway in marketplaces. When the boomers were young, they voted for policies that benefited them. Low cost or free higher education, family support systems, and strong social welfare. When they got to the peaks of their careers, their voting patterns changed again, and now this large block of voters was in favour of lower income taxes, less business regulation, more domestic industry protections to avoid outsourcing and global competition, and on a smaller scale, things like zoning laws which would protect the value of their homes. The push towards suburbs with mandated single-family building requirements meant that houses got bigger and good locations got more desirable because only so many family homes could be built there. In the 50s, houses were basically a commodity. The majority of the expense was in building the structure itself, and it wasn't unreasonable for the family cars to cost more than the family home. Fast forward 50 years and those houses are now investments as much as they are places to live. In old age, the boomers have now started voting to support retirement benefits, pension schemes, medical infrastructure, and to remove wealth taxes, even if that comes at the expense of all the schemes that serve them well in their young age. Of course, David Willett's work focused specifically on the UK, and yes, I know there are certainly people that vote for the greater good rather than their narrow self-interest, but on average it is easy to see this trend throughout the past half-century in most advanced economies. In my own home of Australia, for example, the 2019 federal election was more or less decided by a policy decision that would reduce the tax effectiveness of Australian retirement accounts. The party that advocated for keeping the favourable tax structure ended up winning, primarily thanks to older Australian voters. We recently just had another election where that opposition party backed down on their plan to change retirement account taxes, and they won, very convincingly. A 2017 British election study found that over time, votes for Conservative parties have shifted from being divided by rich and working class to being divided by young and old. A lot of what I have discussed so far came directly from Willett's book, The Pinch, and a lecture he ran at the Royal Institution. It's definitely worth a read if you are interested in these demographic processes. Now, a lifetime of favourable government policy can be hugely beneficial to building wealth. Imagine how much better off the average millennial would be if they got free college or secondary schooling. Even all other things being equal, this would be the difference that a lot of young people need to be able to put a deposit on a house. And that's the next big issue to consider: the housing divide. David Willett's small cohort theory probably omits, or at least doesn't emphasise, one important detail that gave baby boomers another advantage over successive generations. And no, it's not simply that they were able to buy houses when they were cheap. Certainly that didn't hurt, but it's more a symptom of a bigger issue. They were a big cohort in a small world. They had all of the voting power and hardly any of the competition. In the 1950s and 1960s, the global population was roughly a third of what it is today. And not to start a whole thing here, but if you were a white man in the countries that we are mostly focusing on, your competition was even less severe. So, this added back all of the apparent trade-offs that we thought of earlier. There really was less competition for basically everything, including jobs, because employers had a smaller pool of labour to choose from. Labour force participation amongst women was very low, which further reduced the supply and hence the bargaining power of workers. But it also meant that domestic duties were normally taken care of, which reduced household expenditures on things like childcare, food, and general maintenance. These higher relative incomes combined with lower outgoings meant that houses could often be paid off with as little as 1 year's income. Yes, they did have to endure higher interest rates, especially in the 70s and 80s, which were their peak home buying decades. But it didn't really make the difference it would today. The median home in the USA in 1985 was $82,000. That's median, so 50% of homes, like the ones first home buyers would be looking at, would be cheaper than this, but let's keep it simple and stick with $82,000. Adjusted for median household incomes, that $82,000 becomes $103,000. The average mortgage rate at this time was 15%, or roughly $15,000 per year. It did get higher in certain years, but most borrowers were fixed in at an absolute max of about 15%, so that's the worst case scenario. The median home today costs $430,000, and the average interest rate is just over 5%, or $21,500 per year, just in interest payments. Again, this is adjusted for median incomes at the time, so on the surface, these seem pretty comparable. Maybe the younger generations shouldn't be complaining about unaffordable housing after all. A lot of people brush away this comparison by saying that inflation at this time was extremely high, so these higher interest rate payments didn't mean anything. But that's actually not true.
You see, let me just be very clear about something and interject right here. Back in the 1960s and early 1970s, a home would usually cost somewhere around $20,000 to $25,000. That's for an expensive house. That was an expensive house. In the 1960s, you can actually get a house for about $10,000. A nice house. Your starter house would cost around $9,500, and you would typically be able to pay that off with the salary, like with a salary. So basically, with 1 year salary. So your average professional, if you adjust for inflation, how much people were spending on rents or mortgages in the 1960s in relation to rent, so the ratio to rent and mortgages, they would be making today around 70 something thousand, around $72,000, and the average professional with a college degree would be making around 85,000. That's like, so that's it's those are insane numbers. The average person in the United States today, of course, is making significantly less than that. It's only women make on average around $35,000 in the United States, and men on average make around between 45 and $50,000 a year. So $100,000 is extremely uncommon. The reality is that you could work at McDonald's back in the 1960s and 70s, even the 80s, and actually afford an apartment and a variety of different things. It's insane to believe this, but the boomers were lazy. We were robbed by these people. I know that they were able to do this because my father, back in the 80s, you know, was working in fast food, and he basically saved up a bunch of money so that he can get his first place and everything else. He worked in fast food. My father is a person who never went to college, only has a high school diploma, was able to purchase a home for a very low price back in the 90s, like $130,000. That house is now worth over $1 million. And guys, 30 years later, the piece of shit is worth, oh, I'm sorry. See that? Holy, see guys, that's it. Let, so guys, I've been really busting loose over on Rumble. Been busting loose over on Rumble, and for a moment I forgot I wasn't on Rumble. That's just a little bit of a preview of what you can expect on Rumble, because we're gonna switch over to Rumble very soon. And when I switch over to Rumble, it's gonna get wild. It's gonna get wild. The point I'm trying to make is that my father was able to basically attain the American dream extremely easily, and he was making, like, my parents were making almost $100,000 collectively sometimes back in the early 90s, and they used to call themselves poor people. Like, all right, like realistically, they were like collectively they were making somewhere between 75 and $100,000. Okay, but they used to call themselves poor people. This is how crazy the baby boomers are. They don't have empathy for anyone else. Y'all are making collectively almost between 70 and 100K per year, depending on the year. All right. And on top of that, they were getting money from my wealth from my relatives. They think I don't know about it. Okay? Because I had relatives who had money. I never knew that they were getting money from my relatives. So they were getting money from the relatives. They were pulling in tons of their own money. They used to have so much cash, and they would walk around saying that they were poor people. We're poor people. It basically they're poor people living on an income of 100K in like 1992. But the wealthy people are the millionaires. This is the guys. These people were These are psycho people. They're crazy people. Absolutely crazy people. Oh my gosh, guys. And like I said, I can't wait till I swap. Guys, you are going to have a ball when we jump over to Rumble, because I am not playing around. Yeah, Ash said you got too comfy. Ash Ash said you got too comfy here. Yeah. Yeah, he's over on Rumble right now. Like, because we're basically streaming on both Rumble and YouTube right now. And it's like the Rumble mindset is there because I want to start just letting loose, but I can't let loose yet. But that's guys, you don't know what is going on Rumble right now. Y'all don't know what I'm saying on Rumble right now. Oh, you really, guys, if you are not subscribed to my Rumble channel, you are missing out, because like I said, we're going to switch over to Rumble probably around 30 minutes into this video. We're going to switch over to Rumble. Let me see here. Kantar says, sup guys. Kona commuter says, sup guys. Hey, Angry Sama. Hello, Konar. Hello, Kona. Let me see here. Uncle says, boomers don't deserve anything good. Oh my gosh. Don't say my name. Oh gosh. Ash says, careful, don't say my name on you. Oh gosh. Ghost is over on Rumble. He says, Angry will bust a move when the changeover happens. Y'all don't know. 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 Someone actually, you know what's funny? There's a comment. Someone left a comment. Let me see. Let me see here. Matthew said. Matthew said. Matthew Alexander says in regards to Rumble, you over there yet? It's wild over there. Yeah, y'all don't know what I've been doing over there. I had no idea the joy that Rumble would bring to me. Let me see here. Let's see here. Let's keep going. Ash is like, I don't know why Ash, you're making comments. He says, "Hey, Angry, how do you like it over here in alternative school with the rest of the bad kids?" Guys, I don't know. It feels like the '80s. It feels like the '80s where you're back. It's like Gen X. It's like you feel back in the Gen X era. Oh my gosh! Like you're just gonna open up a can of you know what, and just unleash the beast. Let set the Kraken free. Set the Kraken free. The boomers stole our futures while we were still in diapers, and the only option that we have right now is to steal it back. It's 100% the case right now because they are up to no good.
Ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom, it's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The links in the description. Go check it out now.
Just distill this a little bit for the people who are watching. A generation of sociopaths makes I think, posits that the baby boomer generation is sociopathic in its behavior because it was the first generation to have a completely different approach to life, right? More permissive parenting, more television, TV dinners, perhaps less unity in the family than before. That's a pretty strong premise. Nobody likes a sociopath. What do you see the difference is between these folks and how are they responding to this and subsequent generations?
Sure. Well, something like close to 70 million Americans did appear to like a sociopath to one degree or another a few months ago. So, but I think the salient difference between the boomers and the generations that came before and the generations that came after are a set of behaviors that I do think correspond to the clinical indicators for sociopathy. So,
which are?
Sure. So just to summarize, it's basically me first and Dan the consequences, but to run through the list, it's improvidence, so an inability to plan for the future. You can see this in cohort savings rates, which start falling when the boomers enter the workforce. They really just don't save for their future, and if you're much under 50, you're going to find that out when your parents start coming to you for help. same thing applies nationally on Social Security, right? So all these personal behaviors translate into international policy.
I just want you guys to know who this guy is. So this guy is actually one of the founders of PayPal, or one of the people who helped create PayPal. He's a venture capitalist. So this is one of the PayPal bros, and he basically has been working, doing studies to discover what's going on in the United States. And he basically found that the baby boomers are the reason, and it's not just him, it's many people who've come to this conclusion, are the reason why America has gone downhill, or even the global economy as a whole has gone downhill. Basically, westernized baby boomers, these people in all of the countries, Australia, Canada, the UK, Germany, they're the reason why our societies are crap right now. The boomers were the hippies. They're the OG hippies. They're the people that Gen Zers are going to become. Celtic actually posted this comment in just a moment ago. And by the way, guys, we're going to be moving over to Rumble in 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes to move your butt. You've got 5 minutes. You've got 5 minutes to move your butts over to Rumble, because we're going to be over on Rumble in 5 minutes, guys. You got 5 minutes to move your butts over to Rumble, or get left behind like the Rapture. Like the Rapture came and went. All right. I'm not playing games with you. This is not a game. This is real. Okay, you've got 5 minutes to move your butts over to Rumble, or or get left behind. Okay, you have 5 minutes to get over there or get left behind, because I'm not playing games with y'all today. All right, I posted the link in the comment. I'll go ahead and went ahead and pinned it. Yeah, so I posted the link in the chat, and I pinned it. So there's the link to the Rumble, and you guys have 5 minutes to get over there before we move over to Rumble, because that's where it's about to pop off. But yeah, the boomers, they're the OG hippies. They stole our futures while we were still in diapers. And Celtic basically says the boomers were the hippies who became yuppies and now are greedy seniors holding all the asset, all the real estate and stocks, who milk government entitlement programs. Yeah. So basically, when they were younger, they voted for policies that benefited them, and then when they got older, they voted for the opposite policies. This is crazy. So they voted against policies that would have benefited their parents when they were young, but that benefited them. And then when they got old, they voted against policies that would benefit the young, the same policies that they voted for themselves when they were young, and they voted for policies that they voted against when they were young that would have benefited their parents. And they voted for those policies to benefit, so they could benefit themselves. So they voted against entitlements when they were young for their parents, and policies that benefited them when they were like in their 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s. And then when they got into their 60s and 70s, they began voting for policies such as rampant entitlements, that would benefit them, and against policies that would help younger people. These are some crazy people. These are some crazy, dangerous people. Crazy, dangerous people. Ninja MWA, what's up, bro? What's up? All right, so a bunch of you guys are already over on Rumble right now. Like I said, you guys have about 3 minutes. I'll give you 3 more minutes. You have about 3 minutes to get over to Rumble, because we're about to go wild. We're about to go wild. You know what someone said? You know what someone someone said? Someone said, Angry, your New York really came out. And I don't even have like a New York accent. I don't think I have a real New York accent. Or maybe it's the fact that I'm stuck on YouTube for so long, I have to speak so extraordinarily proper, speak that Queen's English. But when on Rumble, I get to say the things I want to say. If you're a baby boomer, feel free to come over to Rumble, because I've got some things I really want to say to you. Like, if I have boomers on this channel, I've got some boomers on this channel, and there's some things that I really want to say to them that I've not been able to say to them and really express myself. So, I invite my baby boomer viewers to come over to Rumble too. If you're over here on YouTube, there's a link. It's in the description of the video. It's also in the chat right now. It's pinned. Please come and join us over on Rumble, so that I can really just tell you guys how I feel. I was there's some videos over there already where I talked about it a bit earlier, how I feel, how you make me feel. But but yeah, just come on over because I've got more to say. I got a little bit of a headache right now, but I'm basically going on rage. I'm basically, guys, you don't even know. It's like I'm looking at the countdown right now. Looking at the countdown, you guys have like a minute and a half, barely a minute and a half before we switch over to Rumble, just exclusively Rumble. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's gonna feel so good. It's gonna feel so good. I can't wait. I can't wait, y'all. It's really like there's only like a minute left. I can't wait. Stream on YouTube ends in a minute and continues exclusively on Rumble in less than a minute. I can't wait. I can't wait, y'all. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. Let me make sure I get over there. Let's get over to YouTube because we need to get everything set up. Oh, it's good. The fun that shall be had. The truth will set. There's a saying, y'all. The truth will set you free. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Boomers, the truth shall set us free. Boomers, the truth shall set us free. It really shall. You don't have to be afraid, boomers. You don't have to be afraid of the truth, boomers. The truth is going to set us all free. Gonna set us all free. Let's see. Well, look at that. So guys, it's time. It's time. It is time for us to move over to Rumble. And I told you we're gonna do it. So if you haven't done it yet, then that's on you. But we're gonna end the stream on YouTube now, and we're gonna head over to Rumble. We're already on Rumble. We're streaming on Rumble, but we're gonna continue on Rumble. And yeah, guys. Like I said, baby boomers, hope to see you guys on Rumble. Like if you're listening, boomers, any of my boomer fans, please, hey, come join us over there, man. I got some things I want to say. I got some things I need to get off my chest. So we're gonna wrap it up on YouTube, continue on Rumble.